Now, as I mentioned, one of the things you're going to have to do, particularly for these virtual machines, to enable you to do any sort of rescue operation is add a VM delay. I'm also going to make a video about how to do this in ESXi. But for those of you working with VMware Workstation, this is 14. I believe the mechanics will probably be the same in 15. The first thing you have to do is shut your VM down, because you can't change the BIOS while it's running. Them's the rules. Okay. Okay. Notice CD takes me back to my home. Let's see where I am. F. Interesting. Dash F does the same thing as dash A. LL does a long list. Let's look at alias for a minute. Notice that alias does things a little differently. I might have to add this color auto thing to the other aliases. Notice also that tail has been alert has been aliased to something. This is going to take some unpacking. There is a fork and a different fork and history. Let's do alerts. Okay, so let's do this before we have to get. Before we go anywhere. So, because of course the first thing I'm going to do is shut this thing down. That'll create a snapshot. I might as well make it something useful with that snapshot. Notify -pin. Okay, and the TLX stack frame. This thing is still happening, so I really have to hear what this is. Notice how much like this is exactly like all your consoles. And actually, speaking of which, I can flip over. See how far over I can go. Okay. So TTY7 is interesting. TTY7 looks like the logs that were from my start process. Okay, so shut down. Now. Okay, sudo shut down. Now. And it'll shut everything down. And when it is good and gone, then you can modify the BIOS. What I might have to do here is add some settings into the BIOS somewhere. This is actually kind of easier. Okay. And okay. So I shut down. And then it wanted more confirmation. I believe the system is just about ready to... Okay, so killing all remaining processes, restoring resolver state. Control D. Okay. Okay. I'm hoping that this shutdown didn't accidentally do reboot. I might have needed the power off command. Okay, going down for maintenance now. So it was stopping services. Okay. Stopping Tomcat, stopping rsync, stopping everything. And I believe it's probably done. So now we can shut it down. And it's going to ask me if I want a snapshot. Shut down. And I take a snapshot. And now I need to figure out how to create the rescue image. Let's see. So, options. Advanced. It's in the BIOS here. Okay. see. You may have to. May have to get a little creative here. Let me show you something. This is not something you want to do all the time. So these are my documents, my virtual machines. This is Ubuntu server. There's a file called VMX. Let's make sure it's this one right here. Actually, let me show you tools. I want to show you my file extensions to make sure I'm messing with the right one. Okay, didn't like me. Okay, view let's see. Hide extensions for known file types. Okay, yeah. This will allow me to make sure. Yes, this is the one I want. This is a text file full of all your settings. So I'm going to edit it with Notepad++, and somewhere in here, I can add a BIOS delay. BIOS boot delay equals 10,000. This is in milliseconds, so if I want 10 seconds of BIOS delay, I need 10,000 milliseconds of BIOS delay. Control S. We close this. And I will power this thing up again. And okay, notice that we now have a countdown clock. We can go to escape for the boot. Click in, escape for the boot menu. Notice now we have options. Removable devices, say USB. My hard drive, my CD-ROM drive, network boot. I go to my CD-ROM, and it actually, let me see. Let's go to F6. Actually, let me embiggen this. There we go. So, F4. Escape. Okay, so now we have, let's try, we have options here. Okay, we don't want that. So the point of a system rescue is allow you to look at driver problems, look at configuration file problems, look at partition problems, look at the bootloader. What you sometimes might need to do is boot into your rescue image and use things like your chroot commands to shift the root directory to make the two devices, the two file systems interact with each other. Like I said, so you might need to mount the root file system on a local disk in the RAM drive, do chroot, and then use the root commands on your file system to access the live CD or vice versa. But let me try. Let's test them. Let's do a memory test. And we can do this sort of thing. Test the drives, test the memory, chroot, that sort of thing. To create, to give ourselves the kind of tools we need. Depending on how you're doing this, you might want to boot all the way into the other operating system, say a rescue version of Kali, and then play with chroot to give yourself the Kali commands you need in an operating system that doesn't include them, say some of the DIFR or forensics tools that you might find in Kali that you wouldn't expect to find in a standard desktop Linux. So it goes like this. So in summary, we've talked about, let's see, Control Tab. We talked about system rescue. We've talked, like I said, these servers are usually a good deal more powerful. More hardware, more specialized hardware, bigger drives, more memory, more CPUs, more of them. I mean, better CPUs more often, etc. And of course, we've got all of our storage options: SATA, SCSI, iSCSI. iSCSI, of course, is SCSI over TCP/IP. I wouldn't expect you to see things like fiber channel anymore, but you could very easily build a SAN with a set of Linux boxes, and then use iSCSI to push the data from that SAN out to your end users. Let's see. We talked about ZFS. We talked about all the fun stuff you can find in Proc. And we talked about the fun things you can do with a bootable Linux. I might do another video like this in just a minute, show you Kali or UBC or something of that nature. Thank you for your attention.